Hello, my name is Sandra Castaneda, and I will be presenting my Crater Inquiry project in my course EED 3315. What are beetles? Beetles come from the kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Coleoptera, family Dermestad, species Anthrnis verbsci. Beetles are insects. They are different from other winged insects because their first pair of wings are hardened and thickened. There are many kinds of beetles, and some of them could become huge. The lifespan of a beetle could vary, but it usually is for about 3 to 6 months. Structure of a beetle. The wing covers can be smooth, grooved, or otherwise sculptured. The head has an antenna coming from the area near the eye. The thorax has one set of legs. The abdomen has 2 sets of legs. Life cycle of a beetle. The life cycle of a beetle has 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult beetle. This is known as a complete metamorphosis because it has 4 very different stages. It starts off as eggs, then turns into a larva, which is a mealworm, converts into a pupa, and this is known as the inactive stage, which then eventually turns into an adult beetle. My inquiry for this project, I wanted to answer which groups of beetles will complete the metamorphosis process first. The group that will be at room temperature or the group that is in the fridge, which will be approximately 40 degrees Fahrenheit. In order to answer my inquiry, I went to PetSmart and I bought some mealworms. Here, their mealworms were placed inside the fridge, which gave me enough confidence to put my mealworms inside the fridge for my experiments, knowing that it will not die. The materials that will be needed will be 2 small plastic containers, oatmeal as a food, apples for the water, 16 mealworms, and a refrigerator that has a temperature of approximately 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The variables for this experiment are the amount of mealworms in each plastic container, and the same amount of food and water intake will be the control variables. The different temperature for the 2 groups of mealworms is the independent variable, and the completion of complete metamorphosis faster will be the dependent variable. This video was taken 2 weeks into the experiment. These are the mealworms that were placed at room temperature. As you can see, there are 2 mealworms already into the pupa stage, and the rest are very active and they're just moving around and eating. This video shows the mealworms that were placed in the refrigerator. As you can see, there is barely any movement in this container. At first I thought they were dead when I first took them out from the refrigerator, but then I shook up the container a bit and they started moving. So then I realized that these were very inactive as compared to the mealworms that were placed at room temperature. This video was taken 5 weeks into the experiment. These are the mealworms that were placed at room temperature. So as you can see, we already have 2 adult beetles. One is darker than the other. The other mealworms are in the pupa stage. As you can see, here is a beetle that I believe that it's in between the pupa and the adult stage, so it's really not a beetle because it still looks like a pupa, but it has the legs as an adult beetle would have. These are the mealworms that were placed in the refrigerator. As you can see, there are about 2 or 3 mealworms that are dead. The rest, they are moving, but you could see that there are no mealworms have gone into the pupa stage, and there is barely any movement in here. This video was taken 8 weeks into the experiment. These are the mealworms that were placed at room temperature. As you can see, the majority of the mealworms have completed the metamorphosis process, except for 2 actually died on me. But the rest, they're just moving around, they're just eating. In this other container, these are the mealworms that were placed in the refrigerator. As you can see, most of the mealworms are in the pupa stage, finally, after 8 weeks. And so there is barely any movement in here. For my data, I created 2 tables. The top table is for the mealworms that were placed at room temperature. The bottom table is for the mealworms that were placed in the refrigerator. Each red column means that a mealworm has died, and each X represents the stage in the metamorphosis process at which the mealworm was at the end of the 8 weeks. As the table shown, most mealworms have grown into a beetle at room temperature. Mealworms that were in the fridge have stopped in the larva and pupa stage and has not transformed into a beetle. The results of my experiment were that most mealworms that were in room temperature have completed the metamorphosis and converted into a beetle. Only 2 mealworms that were in the fridge completed the metamorphosis and converted into a beetle. There were 2 worms that was on the pupa stage and at the end of the 8 weeks. My conclusion is that mealworms thrive and complete the metamorphosis process in 8 weeks at room temperature. Mealworms that are in the fridge complete the metamorphosis process at a slower rate. These mealworms are also very inactive when I would check up on them. I believe the temperature greatly influenced the rate of metamorphosis process within the mealworms.